Welcome to GWRI 101, The Writer Within, from the Union Institute and University. The title of today's video is Combining the Ideas of Others with Your Own. Let's start with the basic question. Why do I want to combine the ideas of others with my own? What's the purpose? Why don't I just put my thoughts into a paper? Well, the answers to that question are fourfold. Putting other person's ideas into the paper adds credence to your argument or to your story. It makes your thoughts more impressive. It separates academic writing from other writing. You become sort of like a lawyer. You back your thoughts with evidence. So how do we do it? First, we find evidence or research to back our theme. Our last thread during this unit's work showed us how to use Google Scholar and other search engines to find evidence. When we find our evidence, we note the author, the title of the work, the publisher, the year of publication, and the pages of the research, because we'll need that later on when we cite our sources. Then we organize our research information, figuring out where it might fit into our paper, and then we actually use the research in our paper. Our last thread, we talked about creating a story with the theme of honesty, and I showed you how to go in and research through search engines how to find things on honesty. I went in and found two for the particular paper that I'm going to model today. One is an article entitled Honesty is a Virtue. It's actually a blog, and I found it. It's by a person whose blog name is LS121 at the following URS. It was published on April the 27th, 2009. I also went in and found a website called Wisdom Commons. It was a website that gathered together lots of quotations, so it had no author, just a publisher. I have the website there, and I accessed it on September 24th, 2014. These are important because I will be making a reference page. When I went into the blog on Honesty is a Virtue, I noticed two quotes or two ideas that I thought I might possibly use in my paper. One came from page 1. When you lie, you jeopardize being caught. Therefore, you should not lie. And another one, just because one lies and happens to get away with it does not prove that lying is actually good. In principle, one should never lie, on page 3. I figure that somewhere in my paper I might be able to use those two citations. In the Wisdom Commons website, I found two others. The first is a quote from Nelson Mandela. The first thing is to be honest with yourself. You can never have an impact on society if you have not changed yourself. And the other one is a quote, the truth that makes men free is for the most part the truth which men prefer not to hear. And that was by a man named Herbert Agar. Now I got to start organizing my paper, and you know from the past that we begin in our head. We begin with the idea, we begin with organization, we begin thinking before we actually write. In my paper, my introduction is going to talk about the concept of honesty. I'm going to use quotes from the Honesty is a Virtue website. It'll either question whether honesty is indeed the best policy. The middle will be my story, and it will have to be a powerful story with a theme of honesty. And my concluding paragraph will redefine honesty in the context of your story. Using quotes from the Wisdom Commons webpage, it will conclude that honesty is the best policy. Here's a sample introduction. I might begin my paper this way. It's been debated throughout the ages whether honesty was indeed the best policy. Stories abound of wealthy men who have prospered through dishonest ways. Is it sometimes okay to lie? The blogger LS121, 2009, citation there, says that you shouldn't lie because, quote, "When you lie, you jeopardize being caught," unquote, page 1. Yet is this the only reason against lying? The same blogger, 2009, continues and concludes that even if one gets away with a lie, it's still wrong, page 3. Is it ever okay to lie? And that concludes my introductory paragraph, where I use 2 citations from one of my sources. Next, I go into the body of the paper, and here I need to create a powerful story that has honesty as its theme. And if I didn't have a story with honesty as its theme, I certainly would not have been talking about honesty in the introductory paragraph. I am going to talk about the theme of whatever story it is that you come up with. For purposes of this paper, this story must be written in the 3rd person. So if I have a story that's about me, I'm going to call myself Tom and make myself a character in the story. And then lastly, we're going to conclude it using some more citations. Maybe we might say something like this. In Wisdom Commons 2014, Herbert Agar is quoted as saying, "The truth that makes men free is for the most part the truth which men prefer not to hear," page 5. The main character from our story would certainly agree with this statement. While we say that we seek the truth, we often would not prefer to face it. Wisdom Commons 2014 also has a quote from Nelson Mandela. It says that the first thing is to be honest with yourself. You can never have an impact on society if you have not first changed yourself. If our main character looks at himself in the mirror, he will see that he has changed. But will this change make a difference in the world in which he lives? And that ends my concluding paragraph. You got the beginning, you got the end, you sort of have to imagine the middle, and the middle is the most important part because it will give you the story that hopefully creates a mind movie in the reader's head. We need to talk just very briefly about plagiarism. Plagiarism is the passing off of the ideas of others as one's own. It's okay to use the ideas of others, and we are telling you in this video that you need to. But we need to have proper citation, proper citing of the ideas of others and give them their due credit. Note how the previous samples properly gave credit when the ideas of others were used in context. Note that when exact words were used, quotation marks were used. When the ideas of others were paraphrased, only citation references were necessary. In conclusion, using other people's thoughts and quotes adds power to our writing. It affirms that our own personal ideas have merit. It adds evidence to our presentation. Let's learn this technique. It is an invaluable component of good academic writing.